You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com. Welcome to another Workshop Wednesday brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where it's casual conversations for serious workflows. This is great. It actually worked.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Last week you said there was something wrong with it.
Yes. We're still not going into private groups automatically, which now that reminds me, I should have done that while I was waiting for the video roll to come in, but I'll do that when I can here. But you can also always check us out on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or Twitter or LinkedIn. Hey, we're everywhere.
Yeah, I connect mine to my Twitter.
Nice.
Mhm.
Or X, right? You can't call it Twitter.
Yes.
Like the prince of social media. The
Formerly
social
known
media.
as.
That's right. So last week we were going to be talking about entering in expenses in the QuickBooks Online mobile app and ended up derailing the entire conversation with the QuickBooks Live assisted announcement. So we want to talk about that today. So I wanted to share my screen here. Now this should be showing up over here because we had shared this before, where it's a really nice article created by Intuit, which lists out, it allows you to compare the mobile app features with QuickBooks Online on the various different mobile devices, right? iPhone, iPad, Android phone, and Android tablet. And you can just see what you can do in those apps, because that's ultimately what things boil down to when it comes to using the app versus using QuickBooks Online natively in a web browser. The things that you can do in those things that you can't do in that particular app. And I think we had talked to Rachel, you don't have a lot of clients that actually do use the app. Is that because they don't know it's there, or they don't know what they can and can't do? Or is it, that's not part of your scope?
Yeah, we do a lot of this kind of stuff with our clients, but as a firm that uses a lot of external apps, we use something else.
Mm.
But no, I actually do still have a couple clients that do prefer to use the mobile app. And so they do. And I'm actually glad we're talking about this because I have a couple of questions for you on
Oh,
what would you do type of thing when
what would Dan do?
yeah, what would Dan do with a couple different scenarios? So we can get to that,
Okay.
but I'll let you keep going.
Got it. So looking at this article here, and I'll put it in the comments as well, so that you can access it as well if you're watching this now or later. But with regards to expenses, we're going to be talking about things that, entering in expense type transactions and what you can do on the app. So as far as expenses, you're going to be dealing with vendors, obviously. So you can create and manage vendors, import vendors from contacts, which is nice because if you have a vendor already set up in your phone, in your mobile device as a contact, you can add your vendors into the mobile app, which ultimately goes into your QuickBooks, right? So it's a way to bring in contact information for your vendors right from your mobile device if they're already there. And then you can see a vendor on a map. So if you need to get to the vendor or show up somewhere, you can see them on the map. Okay, so that's a nice to have thing. But as far as expenses, the transactions that you can enter, it really boils down to, you can create expenses and attach a receipt photo, right? So that's really what it boils down to. So I have my mobile app open, I think. I got to turn this one off. And then for some reason I get, uh-oh,
Oh, no.
there we go. I turned it off. Sorry. And then we'll move this over here. There we go. Okay. So I've got my mobile device inside of QuickBooks. And I went into, where did I go? Just the menu here. This is today. And then I go to the menu down here in the bottom, which gives you these shortcuts, things that you can do, larger icons. And I just wanted to show in all, when it comes to expenses, you have two options. Your
I was
expenses,
just going to ask you that.
you have expenses, right? Which allows you to see your previous expenses and create new ones. Whoops. Hold on a second. I need to go back. Or your vendors, right? Which go into the creating those said expenses. Of course, you also have products and services like you items if you're going to be putting them on there. But if we go in and create an expense from scratch, you have your three options here at the top. How did you pay? Credit, check, or other. Your account, as far as which account you're actually going to be charging that from. You'll notice that if you choose credit and then go on to account, you only see those accounts that are credit card accounts. If you choose check or other, you're going to have your bank account, right? So that's muy importante, right?
Which should be your business bank
Right.
account.
Exactly. Yes, you definitely want to have your business banking. Now, as this little phone, not phone, camera icon would indicate, you can just snap a receipt right from the screen. And if I do, I've got huge Costco. Almost
Learn
full.
those Costco receipts. They're too long like that. Then you can't read
Right.
it.
Exactly. That's part of the problem
What
is
is that,
that
a CVS receipt?
that's right. That's right. I can wallpaper my house with it, but I can't necessarily snap a picture of it.
Right. I was gonna say, Dan, there's also, don't forget, on the main screen, you can also, rather than just add an expense or through a vendor, you can just
Mhm.
simply snap a receipt. Press
Exactly.
receipt function in the front, and then that can prompt you
Yep.
to add the
I
expense.
was I was gonna get to that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So from your shortcuts, you've got receipt snap, which
Yes.
then you've got your photo icon there and picture of the and of course weird looking. And you can choose to whether, oh, it's telling me keep the entire document in the frame. So
Yeah,
right.
see, I would think you'd have a hard time with that one because I wouldn't be able to read that.
And that's part of the challenge.
What about ripping it in half and doing it side by side?
You might need to do that.
Yeah, because just a little FYI, one thing I learned in just doing a deep dive is when you actually snap receipt, this becomes the legal document. So, what the IRS code says, if you're taking pictures of receipts, they have to be reproducible. So, you can then go ahead and throw the paper copy away and you can keep this, and this becomes the legal document. But if you can't reprint it back out in a non-blurry, legible way, then the IRS can say this is not a source document.
We're gonna
Oh, what are you doing there?
I am
Wow.
cropping. I am cropping because I don't know if you saw that while I was trying to take the photo, the automatic photo or rectangle recognizer was freaking out because of this document and whatever's in the background. Obviously, you don't want to be doing this on your floor with some kind of lines and things like that that the camera might pick up. Best practices, right? You don't necessarily want to do that. There we go. Okay, I wanted to get rid of the other photo.
Yeah, there you go. That's much
I'm
better.
going to upload it, and now it's going to be processing that information. Now, when you do that, it's going to start to extract the information so that you can actually associate something with it. So there's Costco wholesale is
Mm.
and what it figured it was out. It was out, but it didn't know how I paid it because that wasn't there. So now I got to go in and choose what credit card that I use, the date, and then category was assumptive that it was job supplies for the whole thing. If I wanted to split out the dollar amount, I could do that and add the split in here. Your other fields. So you've got an additional payee. There's a description. So that's not Costco wholesale. It's just Costco, right? And then if you have Costco in your vendors, then you can just find them. Hopefully, I've done this before, but I didn't. So then I would add them here.
No,
Whoops,
not
not
Vasco.
Vosk. All right, my thumb is a little too big. All right, let's go. I save it. I could put that information if Costco was a contact, like I had a personal relationship with vendors. With that vendor, I could add it from there. The additional ones of maybe this is billable back to the customer, class. Well, actually, I can't associate class here, but I could put location, which is odd that
Oh,
like one
well,
but not the other.
maybe you don't.
Oh, I
Maybe
got
your
it.
personal account tied to this doesn't have classes turned on. Because if you got location, you'd think that you'd have class.
Yes, it wouldn't be the first time that I have been accused of not having class.
What did you do, Dan? That was a really funny one, by the way. That wasn't the first time that you're accused of not having class. I caught that. That was really funny.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, so that'll hit you on the way home. Oh, but you're already home, and then you can save the receipt. And now that I've extracted that information, I can create an expense from the receipt, and voila, it's now in my book. So I could do all that from that. I've now created a transaction from a picture, assuming that it had I didn't even verify the amount was right. I should have looked at that.
Wait, I have a question.
$800. Wait a minute. That's exactly what I did. That
Yeah,
actually
you're
did get
right.
the
Dan
amount.
is a classy guy. But I have a question. I have a question. What if this person is entering the Costco receipt a little bit later, like maybe 2 weeks down the road? The Costco charge has already come through the bank feed, and now you're adding it as an expense. What do you do then?
So at that point, you're going to see the option there in the for review. So here's my New Jersey Transit receipt from last month. I have little give if the expense is already posted, then I'll be able to choose. I'll be able to choose an expense that already exists to attach it to.
Yeah.
That's
So now
really
I would say, is this kind of something that you're going to train your clients to do? Or guess what? Maybe this is something that the new QuickBooks Live Assistant can train them. Look for
right.
this, be careful. It could be a false match, blah, blah, blah. Because I usually, when I have my, and in all truthfulness, most of my clients don't really understand the accounting. And so that I usually don't want them doing too many things in
Wait.
QuickBooks. And so I have them snap the receipt and then they just let it come through and then we match it on the backside because it's almost like when you're dealing with a lot of clients, you're dealing with just a lot of duplications. It's a lot of work. But if I was able to sit down with my client and go, okay, here are the ins and outs, you're going to add things into the app and be careful of duplication, snap your receipts. When you go to Home Depot, it's going to be a cost of goods sold or it's going to be a job supply. Like preload them with some of the pertinent information. So that way they have what they need to succeed instead of causing a lot of
Mhm.
problems.
Yeah, if that was my role, right, is doing something with their receipts, if they're just giving me a shoebox or something like that, this is something that I would start to teach them on. Hey, rather than
Yes.
sending me a shoebox full of receipts, you could just snap a picture and attach it, right? And then now that's in your QuickBooks. So that's
And I do love that when if you've already reconciled, the expenses are already in there, and then you just upload them all, and then it's just match. That's super easy peasy. Are you ready for my question though? And or do you want to keep going? Then I can ask you in a bit because this is a big one.
I just wanted to show now here it is in QuickBooks and um here's the receipt, right? So I've already got that information in my QuickBooks. I didn't have to enter that as a transaction because I've done that on the app. It's done everything the exact same way that I entered it on the app. And here's the receipt that's now attached to it. So I can see that picture already inside the QuickBooks. Now, this is not a real transaction, so I'm going to delete it.
Sure.
That's a personal trip to Costco, by the way. And as per usual with Costco, you can't get out of there with just spending less than
I can't get
300.
out of there without buying beanbag, goggles. It's just like never ending.
Exactly. And I don't know, every time I stop sharing, it decides to not make us the same size, even though I told. Anyway, okay.
That's okay.
So those are the things that you can do inside of the mobile app with regards to expenses. It is useful if you do have a use for it, just because, again, the main thing of the mobile app and QuickBooks Online is the seamless integration. There
Yes,
we just
it's
saw that
really.
was it was pretty seamless, except for the fact that I didn't have any class, which I do have class tracking turned on, right? So yeah, I know that. So I didn't understand why that wasn't there, but surprise, that's one thing to if that's the only thing to worry about in that particular workflow, you can go back and use your accounting tools and reclassify
Yeah.
CB and that sort of thing. Got a question there.
Okay.
Hold on a second here.
Yeah,
I don't know if I missed this,
go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
but can a client just send the receipt and let us categorize it? Yeah. Yeah. If they just snap a picture of it and upload it, that will show in for review
Yeah.
in the banking section or the transaction section now. Sorry, I'm showing
No,
my
in the
age with quick.
receipts section, if you go into
Yeah.
receipts, you'll see them for review, and that's what we do, Jamie. So I usually tell them, snap the picture. Don't worry about assigning. Don't assign. Just don't, because a lot of times that was my first question with Dan is what if we have already put it on the books? They're causing a duplication, and then we'll find that in the reconciliation. I almost would rather have them just snap it, call it a day and go. And then for them, it's simple. Then they know, oh, all I'm doing is snapping it. That's my job. Great. And makes them feel that they're being very helpful. But my question is,
Okay.
what if, and
Sitting
this
down.
happens all the time, what if they are taking a picture of a purse, something out of pocket, they have paid out of pocket,
Mhm.
not with a connected checking or credit card account? How do you do that?
What do I do for personal? If they do it, they're doing it out of their pocket. In that particular case, I used my own Visa card, right? But it's
Mhm,
for business expenses. How do I add that
mhm.
as a business expense?
If it's not a connected account,
Right. So there's a couple schools of thought with
because we
that.
have our way we do it, but I'm
Yeah.
curious to know how you do, because this is something that in all the training I've taken with QuickBooks, I never really had anybody address this, and I've just done it the way that makes the most sense to me, but curious
Yeah.
to know how you do.
Yeah, so obviously it wouldn't be connected, so it's not gonna bring in the bank feed and
Mhm.
nor would you want it to because then
Right.
you'll be sorting out all of these personal expenses or
Yes.
personal charges and deposits and whatnot. So what I typically do is I'll create a personal checking account or a personal credit card account
Mm.
and put the transactions to that because it has to come to
Yeah. You have to
that.
deposit it to
You
something.
have to put it somewhere.
Yeah, you have to put it to something.
And over time, that's going to increase the balance of that or
Mhm,
decrease the balance, depending on which side of the
mhm,
accounting equation you're on here. It's going to be a non zero transaction
mhm,
balance. And then
mhm,
periodically, you're just going to zero that out. And
mm.
that could be monthly, quarterly, annually to do that, to zero that out, and then offsetting that to wherever the accountant says that should go. But typically, that would be like a district contribution
Yeah,
to the account. Now, if they're gonna get reimbursed for that's another story,
right.
and that's how you would zero that out is by paying out of that account, get it to 0.
That's exactly how we do it. I just
Well,
call it
good.
personal, we call it personal clearing, and we set up a personal clearing for all of our clients because they all do it, even if it's just, on occasion. But and then we and that's part of our month-end close is we clear out personal clearing. Anyway, I was curious to know, I was like, "What how does anybody else do that?" Because that's the only way it makes sense to me to do it.
Yeah. If you have another way that you do it that may be better, put it in the
Yeah.
comments. We'll talk about that. Different options. Now, so that's our summarization of what you can do on the expense side of of the mobile app. Next week, we're going to be talking about, I think we're due to talk about this account called unapplied cash payment. It's
Mhm.
I just had a quick answers question about it, so it stands to I'm clearly not doing a good enough job of explaining what this is if we're still getting questions on it. But
Yeah,
it's
that's a
it's
tricky one. That's
it's
really tricky.
we do have a blog on it in our blog about what it is, but it stands to be revisited because it does have a lot of questions and certainly is one of those things that is, hey, desktop doesn't work this way. So it's for those desktop migrators, it stands repeating, especially now that we're in discontinuation season, which is coming up to May 31st is the
Yeah.
service discontinuation of 2021. So a lot of people are going to be surprised, especially if they're running their books on a cash basis. What in
Yeah,
the world is this
you're gonna see
account?
that a lot on a cash basis. By the way, that's a good name of a movie, Desktop Migrators.
All right. Is it a horror movie?
Yeah. No, 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 post-apocalyptic. Is that the
Oh
word?
yeah.
I don't even know the word. I'm imagining like roaming like some they're migrators. Some kind
I mean,
of desert.
they're hanging out with Canadian geese uh, in Florida during the summer months, and then they come back.
Oh, but what if it's they're like either in the matrix somehow, like that's they're like stuck in some kind of like computer system and they're just
Right. And they need to be freed.
oh my gosh.
All
Yeah, we're
right.
getting a lot done over here.
Talk about your casual conversation. So we're post-apocalyptic desktop migrators movie coming soon to a theater near you, maybe after May 31st. All right.
Oh my gosh.
So appreciate you joining us on the workshop Wednesday. I hope you had as much fun as we did doing
Yes.
this. And we'll see you next time on the workshop. Have a great day, everyone.